Good morning, students. Today let us study about activation functions that are applied in neural network. So these are certain numerical functions which help in converting the input to the output. These are having a very significant importance in neural network because they help in converting the input to the output. So let us see the key takeaways for today's session. Firstly, we'll have a brief introduction to activation functions. Then we will study about different types of activation functions. You have various activation functions and each one will get different output. And we will study about the advantages and disadvantages of each and every activation function, followed by certain assignments specific to this topic. So activation functions, these are, as I told you, mathematical equations that determine the output of a neural network. What is going to be the output of a specific sequence of input that are given to the neural network. So the function is basically attached to each neuron in the network and determines whether it should be activated, fired or not. Right? So this, if at all it is having an appropriate signal, it will fire, else it will not fire. So this is based on each neuron's input which is relevant for the model's prediction. So activation functions also help normalize the output of each neuron, and that is in the range between 1 and 0 and between -1 and 1. So this is basically the normalization of the output for each neuron, and it ranges between 1 and 0 and -1 and 1. So these activation functions basically help you solve complex nonlinear models. Some of the complex data could be audio, image, speech, right? So without activation functions, the output signal will just be linear. So your neural network will not be able to handle the complex data. As I told you, complex data is audio, image and speech. So to handle these, we need activation functions. An additional aspect of activation function is that they must be computationally very efficient. They have to be very strong when it comes to calculating them computationally. Right? Because they calculate, the calculations are across thousands or even millions of neurons of each sample. So activation functions are used for, as I told you, for non-linear complex functions, functional mappings, that is between the input and the required variable. They basically introduce nonlinear properties to the network. Activation functions to introduce the nonlinear properties to the network, and they convert the input of an artificial neuron to the output, and this output is basically a signal which is being fed as an input to the next layer. As you can also see in the image that is on the lower side. So you basically have three types of activation functions. It is binary step function, the linear activation function and the non-linear activation functions. We'll be seeing more about these different types of activation functions. Firstly about binary. So this you can see is a binary which will just support 0 or 1 or yes or no, and it will have a value which is ranging from 0 to 1 and back to 0. Right? So there's going to be a transition whenever there is a change. So this is a binary step function. Is a threshold based activation function. So there are certain thresholds that are defined, and threshold would be whenever there is a change between 0 to 1, there would be a threshold defined. So the input the input value is above or below a certain threshold. As I said, it would be from 0 to 1. The neuron is activated and it sends exactly the same signal to the next layer. The same value is sent to the next layer, whatever it has been having. The problem with the step function is that it does not allow multiple values. So it just ranges between 0 and 1, and so it does not support multiple values. Like for example, it cannot support classifying inputs into one of the several categories. More than 3 it cannot support. So this is a linear activation function. You can just see the line is straight, so it's called as linear. So it could go in a positive direction or it also could go in the negative direction. So it basically takes inputs that are multiplied by the weights for each neuron and creates an output signal proportional to the input. So in one sense, linear function is better than the step function because it allows multiple outputs, not just yes or no or 1 or 0. So modern neural networks basically use non-linear activation functions. Right? So these are basically useful for complex data structure, right? Audio, image, speech. So they allow model to create complex mappings that is between the network input and the outputs, and which are essential for learning and modeling complex data, right? Such as images, video, audio, and data sets which are non-linear and have high dimensionality. Non-linear activation functions, these almost can process any imaginable, uh, almost any process imaginable can be represented as a functional computation in the neural network, provided that the activation function is non-linear. Non-linear functions can address the problems of linear activation functions. They basically support backpropagation, so they allow backpropagation because they have a derivative function which is relative to the inputs or is related to the inputs, and they allow stacking of multiple layers of neurons, which helps in creating deep neural network. So multiple hidden layers of neurons are needed to learn complex data sets, and of course the higher accuracy expected here is comparatively higher. So they try to learn complex data sets with high level of accuracy. We have 7 types of nonlinear activation functions. You have sigmoid, it's also called as logistic. Then you have tanh or hyperbolic tangent. Then you have ReLU, which is termed as rectified linear units, and leaky ReLU, then parametric ReLU, softmax, and Swiss. So we will study more about these functions. So this is basically sigmoid or logistic activation function, and this is basically represented as f of x equal to 1 upon 1 plus exp of minus x. So the range of sigmoid function is basically between 0 and 1. So it basically looks like an S form which is shown, and it ranges from 0 to 1. The advantage of sigmoid or logistic activation function is they have a smooth gradient, they prevent jumps in the output values, right? So output values are bound between 0 and 1, and they try to normalize the output of each neuron. So there is basically clear predictions, like for example for x above 2 or below minus 2, and this tends to bring value, y value, the prediction, to be the edge of the curve. This is very close to 1 or 0. So this enables clear predictions. As it has advantages, there are going to be disadvantages also. They basically face issues with vanishing gradient. So vanishing gradient is basically a kind of a phenomena for which for very high values or very low values of x, there is almost no change to the prediction. It will basically predict in the same range. Right? This causes a vanishing gradient problem. So this can result in the network refusing to learn. So with vanishing gradient, it will not learn anything. So the network refuses to learn further, and also it goes very slow, or being slow to reach an accurate prediction. Right? It basically can kill the gradient. And the other disadvantage is output of sigmoid is not zero centered. That makes it gradient to go in different directions. Right? Then it is very expensive, computationally very expensive, and the convergence will always be slow in this case. Now let us see about the tanh or hyperbolic tangent activation function. This is basically represented as f of x equal to 1 minus exp of minus 2x upon 1 plus exp of minus 2x. So this basically solves a problem occurring with the sigmoid function, and the output of tanh is 0 centered. That is because it is in the range between minus 1 and 1. And the advantages of tanh is it is 0 centered, which makes it easier to model the inputs that have strongly negative, neutral, and strongly positive values. And otherwise it is like a sigmoid function, and optimization is very easy as compared to the sigmoid function. Disadvantages are it is very similar to the sigmoid function, but still it suffers gradient vanishing problem. Then we will see about ReLU. This is more popular in deep learning, and of course more popular in machine learning and neural network also, but it is more applied in deep learning. And it can be represented as Rx equal to max of 0 comma x, and where x will be in the range. If it is less than 0, Rx will be 0, and if it is if x value is greater than 0, equal to 0, then Rx is equal to x. So it should be used within hidden layers of the neural network. Advantages is it is computationally efficient, allows the network to converge very quickly, and it is non-linear. Although it looks like a linear function, ReLU, R-E-L-U it is represented as, has a derivative function and allows for backpropagation. And it avoids as well as rectifies vanishing gradient problem. So it has 6 times better convergence as compared to tanh function. As there are advantages, it is also going to have a disadvantage, and the disadvantage is the dying ReLU problem. So this is when input approaches 0 or are negative, the gradient of the function becomes 0. The network cannot perform backpropagation and cannot learn. So learning is a major thing which will not be happening in this case. So that is basically the dying ReLU problem. Leaky ReLU. This is an activation function. You can see the graph is shown on the side, and the advantages of this, it prevents the dying ReLU problem which we faced previously, and this variation of the ReLU has a small positive slope, and it is basically in the negative area, so it does not enable backpropagation, and sorry, it does enable backpropagation, and even for negative input values, right? Otherwise it is same like ReLU. As it has advantages, again it is going to have disadvantages, and the disadvantage is its results are not consistent, right? So leaky ReLU does not provide consistent predictions for negative input values. Then we have parametric ReLU activation function. Here it is represented as f of x equal to max of ad comma b, or other variables also could be used. So the advantages of this is it allows the negative slope to be learned, and it is very different from leaky ReLU. This function provides the slope of the negative part of the function as an argument. So it is therefore possible to perform backpropagation and learn most appropriate value of alpha. So alpha is basically the learning rate. Otherwise it is same like ReLU. Disadvantages are may perform differently for different problems. Then we have the softmax activation function. The expression for that is specified here, and the advantages is it is able to handle multiple classes, only one class in other activation function, right? So normalizes the output for each class, and it is between 0 and 1, and it divides by their sum and divided by their sum, right? Giving the probability of the input values being in a specific class, and useful for output neurons. Typically softmax is used only for the output layer, and for neural networks that need to classify inputs into multiple categories. Now let us see about switch activation function. This is very new, and it is a self-gated activation function. This is basically discovered by the researchers from Google, and according to the research paper they have written, this performs the best or better than ReLU with a similar level of computational efficiency. So the computational efficiency remains same, but still it performs better than ReLU, right, as per their observations made in the paper. So they performed experiments on ImageNet with identical models running ReLU and Swish, and the new function achieved top -1 classification accuracy ranging from 0.6 to 0.9% of higher as compared to the previous results. These are some of the questions for today's assignments for today's topic, and if you have any questions related to this, do not hesitate to contact me at the specified email ID. Thank you. We are done for today.